Hi everyone, welcome back. We're happy you're here joining us today. I am joined again by my husband Craig.
I'm back.
And we're going to share with you our little behind the scenes project that we've had going on here at home. As you know already from the title and the thumbnail of this video, our big behind the scenes project is that we now have a driveway. Yay! And this is probably pretty boring, common thing for most people. You know, it's just a driveway, it's not that exciting. But it's a really big deal for us because we've lived in 4 different houses throughout our marriage, and every single one of them has had only a gravel driveway. And so through our almost 20 years of marriage, we've spent so many hours digging out from being stuck in snow drifts or just like scraping the gravel in the spring when it's
stuck in the mud.
Yeah, when it gets all muddy in the spring and you have to kind of make it so that you can drive on it again. So we vowed to ourselves that when we moved to Arrow Hill Cottage that we would have a more permanent drive material, and so we finally have that, and we're super excited to share the process with you today. We were told by our contractor that because of the area, we live in Minnesota and there's freeze-thaw cycles and all 4 seasons, we were told to wait at least 1 full calendar year before we installed our permanent driveway. So we've had over a year now to think about what we wanted, and we've put a lot of thought into it. Basically, the driveway situation that we had starting out was kind of just like a temporary thing, and it was made so that when they did the construction of the house and the garage, they could easily get the trucks onto the site. And so they kind of just cut a path through where we took down trees and just decided where to kind of put the driveway. There were a couple things that we didn't really like about this temporary location, and the first was that even though we live on about a 4 to 4.5 acre parcel here on the outskirts of town, there is a road that goes in the front part of our property that can be a little bit busy certain times of the day. And so it was always kind of tricky to back out onto it.
Yeah, we lived here long enough, we kind of got used to the backing out situation. I could almost probably do it blindfolded by the end. But people that come to visit definitely seem to struggle with it. They weren't usually sure where to park, or even if they did, how to turn around, and if they weren't comfortable backing out, it was a little awkward for them.
Yeah, so that was one of the main reasons. We wanted to be able to drive forward onto that busier road. And again, it's only really busy during certain times of the day, like when it's the beginning of school, a school day, and then at the end of a work day. So it's just easier to drive forward. So we wanted kind of a turnaround spot. And the other thing that was more my preference than Craig's was that I just didn't like how it kind of visually cut off, the driveway sort of cut off a very stark line between the driveway garage side and then the house side. So it was like there was this harder material and then the grass just kind of abruptly stopped, and I couldn't think of any good way to like really landscape that area to make it a little bit softer. And so that was another consideration that we decided to work with.
But of course, to move the driveway required quite a bit of work. So we have some footage of us preparing the area for the new driveway, which was fairly heavily wooded, so we had some tree removal to do and some brush cleanup. We really struggle to remove more trees than we already have on this property because we have a bunch of mature, beautiful oak trees, and we just love them. So we planned accordingly to minimize the number of trees that we had to take down. And I think we only had to take maybe...
I think there was 4.
There was 4 trees, but none of them were bigger than, I don't know, 8 inches maybe in diameter.
Yep, and some of them were actually kind of leaning already. So the ones we took down, though it was sad, they were the best possible option to remove.
I think 2 of them were actually dead.
Yeah. So after all of the woods area was cleared out and Craig put in just a ton of sweat equity on that one, we were getting set to figure out what path we actually did want to go through. And that sort of fell under my jurisdiction. I went out with a rake and a hoe and I kind of cut through where I wanted the edge of the driveway to be and kind of spray painted some lines also. And then I kind of got a little obsessed with making sure that it actually did work because it's a little bit tight still. So I went through with our vehicles, or both of us went through with our vehicles and tried it out. It's just another way that you could tell that I'm very much a visual learner. I like to just kind of experience it and make sure that it is working, and it kind of annoys Craig sometimes, but it's a big undertaking to put in a driveway. It just made me feel better to know that the path was gonna work. Then it came time to get the companies involved that would be helping us, and we called a couple places. We were kind of debating between if we were going to use concrete material throughout or asphalt or kind of a mixture of both. And so we called the asphalt person first to get an estimate, and he recommended that, or he actually said that he wouldn't do the asphalt all the way up to the garage doors or up to the front steps, and that we needed to have some concrete work done there. And so we called another person to come in and give us an estimate for that portion of the work. And one of the reasons ultimately that we decided to do a mixture between the two materials was that the cost of concrete, I don't know if it's this way nationwide, but it's pretty significantly more expensive. And we just wasn't in the budget for us right now. And so we figured if we used concrete just on the sidewalk portion and then the apron for the garage, we'd be able to do the rest of it in asphalt. So the concrete guys came first and they made very fast work of everything. They got the sidewalk and the apron done within just a few hours and everything cleaned up.
Very professional.
Yep, they did really good quality work. We're very pleased with how that all turned out. And then the asphalt person told us that we needed to wait 3 weeks for the concrete to fully cure before they could come and do their portion of the job. So when the day finally came for the asphalt crew to come and do the grading work, we were sort of disappointed to find out that they were unable to remove the tree stumps from the large oak trees that we had taken down. And when they came to do the estimate initially, I did point these stumps out and they said that it would be no problem. But when the actual workers came to do the job, they said they basically could not handle it and that we needed to call a tree service to grind the stumps out because it was just way too much for them to do. They wouldn't be able to dig them out because the way that oak trees root systems work, it's just way too complicated. And so we had to sort of scramble at the last minute, and we were able to find someone to come that day, which was an amazing blessing, came through and ground down all of the stumps, and that machine was really incredible how fast that it worked. And before the end of the day, we had that all done, and then the crew was able to come back the very next day. Wow, that's crazy. They just got that done so fast.
Oh, it's like a few minutes. Look how much it is.
It's kind of crazy to think of how long it takes to grow a tree and how quickly it can be cut down and everything. So when the crew came back to do the grading work, I was constantly amazed. The kids and I sat on the porch and watched these huge trucks just effortlessly move around the site and on the side of the garage, and it was like, it was no big deal for them. These are tight quarters that they're working in, and they just move that machinery like nobody's business. It was really fun to watch that. They were very precise on their edges, and it was just kind of amazing to see the crew working. The asphalt itself was really hot, and of course it was already a hot day, so sitting out there, all of us, the kids and I, were all out there, and it was very, very hot. But the amazing thing about asphalt is that it's done basically in a day. Now we couldn't drive on it right away, but it was finished where you could walk on it by the end of that day. So that was kind of cool. So that evening after the crew left, I was so excited to begin moving the large mound of dirt that we had delivered on site before the driveway construction began. I was ready to just move that all into place and begin our landscaping process. And so I was kind of tinkering around with the piles of dirt when a neighbor from down the street saw and came over and asked me if we wanted some help. And I was very thankful that he came because it would have taken us probably well into the fall to do the work that we did with him and his little tractor in just a few hours.
That was a real back saver, honestly.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, last summer we spent the majority of the summer with a wheelbarrow and a shovel. And it can be done. It just takes a massive amount of time.
Yeah. So we were thankful he came in and we got that all done by the end of that day, and then we just kind of stood back and looked at the change that we had created. So now all that's left is we have to finish up a little bit more of the fine tuning of the grading, and we're cleaning up some of the brush and things that's in the front yard, and then we are going to be set to plant grass seed probably in the next couple of weeks. So we're really excited about that. And that means that probably next summer is when we're going to get around to doing the more detailed landscaping, like planting some bushes and some flowers and that type of thing. But this was a huge boost for curb appeal, we feel like, in our opinion. It just kind of makes it softer, I feel like. That was one of my major things with the look of the front, is that it just kind of softens it with the area that's going to be grass. And it also gives us a lot larger front yard. So that is it for today's video. Thanks for watching and checking out our big fun surprise. We are very much enjoying our new driveway, and we will be enjoying it for years to come. Craig's super excited to be able to get a snowblower finally, that we won't have to worry about throwing rocks all around. So that should make winter a lot nicer too.
Less shoveling is good.
Less shoveling. Again, thank you so much for watching. We hope you have a wonderful day, and we hope you'll stop by the cottage again really soon.
Those of you watching this is just so that she has proof that she did something.
Yeah.
And she's only doing it while I'm recording, and she'll stop right away, I
Usually
guarantee
I'm
it.
behind the camera, but this time I actually got my mud boots on. We should really take off those little brass curtain hanger things on that door. Okay. We got a driveway, we got a driveway. We're so excited about our driveway.